Waleed Basyouni.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's my honor to be here today. I'm speechless. When I arrived and I saw this beautiful, first of all, let me tell you the story. Ammar told me that we're going to the university. Then we kept driving for about 2 hours, and I keep saying, what's that university, which is hidden far away from the city, gonna look like? Okay, then he said, no, it's in a very good city. It's in Toronto. Tronoh. I said, Toronto? So that sounds like Toronto. Anyway, it's very similar. I'm not a Canadian, but Canadian people always add when they talk. And I guess Malaysian, they add la. So anyway, I'm very happy, very proud of you, because we are one nation, one Muslim ummah. When I see the success in any part of this Muslim ummah, I consider it a success of myself, because I'm part of this nation, the Muslims ummah. So I would like to congratulate you for this beautiful country that you have, Malaysia. It's my first time to visit the country. Very beautiful. I would like also to congratulate you for this unique university, the University of Technologi, Petronas. It's also a wonderful place, mashallah. I was very impressed with the little bit of information that I get to know about university from the Vice Chancellor, Professor Muhammad. Thank you very much for hosting us today. And also I would like to thank An-Noor Institute, An-Noor Islamic Center, which is something I thought it's very unique to have an Islamic center inside the university. That's something very unique. I came from a country which is known of its education, the United States of America. But I'll tell you, you have put so many of our university in shame by the, mashallah, the beautiful buildings, the beautiful students and wonderful teachers that I have met so far. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you strength to continue your journey in this life and to be more successful in this life and the next, inshallah ta'ala. Alhamdulillah wahdahu wa salatu wa salamu ala abna nabiyya ba'dahu wa ba'd. All praise due to Allah and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, his family, his companions and his followers until the day of judgment. My dear brothers and sisters, I know I'm talking relatively to a very young crowd. So when you talk about challenges in life, so many of us, we don't really kind of relate to it yet. You know, when you're a college student, where you're still young, fresh, there is not too many things to worry about, especially if you're a male single. Male singles are less worried than female singles. You know, they said a young male will not worry about life until they get married, As a female, young female, she worry about her future until she gets married. After that, somebody else will worry about it. Okay? But for the man, he doesn't care about love much until he gets married. After that, he starts getting worried about the future. But anyway, there is no doubt that each and every one of us, regardless of our age, regardless of our gender, there is certain challenges ahead of us. There is so many challenges ahead of us. This dunya, this life that we live in today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create it to be that smooth ride that we all go through. Allah never promised us a calm journey, but He promised us a safe landing, inshallah ta'ala, if we follow His command. So this rough journey, this up and downs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Qur'an, يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا. All mankind, and by the way, yes, it's all mankind, al-insan, but you will find some of the mufassirin, some of the scholars who interpret this verse said, al-insan here meant to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. إنما قيل الإنسان والمراد برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يعني, oh Muhammad, you are going to go through so much struggle in this life. So if Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the best creation that Allah ever created, who is the most pure format of a human being that you can think of, the most dear one to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah did not promise him a calm journey, that he will go through ups and downs. So what about the rest of the ummah? There is no doubt that they will go through struggle. And some said, no, Ya ayyuhal insan meant, oh who you believe. It's umum yu'na bihi al-khusus. نوع من الخصوص. It means, oh who you believe, you going through a struggle, not because you're a believer, you think this life will be very smooth for you. No. And other scholars said, this verse should be kept as general as it is. All mankind, believers and non-believers, righteous and wrongdoers, everyone in this life will go through a struggle because things will not be achieved easily in this dunya. And that's what I like. That's the opinion that I think it is fair, because it includes every other opinions as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. We created a human being and we made them go through kabad, يعني hardship, challenges in life. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about a human being, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ. We created you from a nutfa, from a lowly sperm, that and we going to put you through challenges in life, through hardship in life. This is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all mankind. Every one of us has his own struggle in life. Every one of us has his own worry. You know what? Some of us worry about the future. I'm going to get a job when I graduate. Some of us talk personally. I'm going to be married to the person that I love maybe today. Maybe you love someone and you worry if you're going to marry that one or not. Maybe you don't even have someone in your mind, but you always worry, I'm going to be married to the right person or not? Or I will be having a hard time like so many people I see in life. When I grow up, would I still in poverty, or I will be able to make money to change my life? Would I be able to go back to my country and know, mashallah, it's really the picture of Islam. You see it in this university, in this gathering. So many colors, so many, and I don't mean the hijab colors, I mean the faces, okay? There are so many different ethnicities in this beautiful gathering. So everybody has his own, maybe worry about his own future or her own future. Would I be able to pay my debts that I had to go through to continue my education? Maybe I'm struggling with some subjects in the university. Would I be able to go through that? Maybe I have a hard time to adjust. Maybe some of us have sickness and disease that he doesn't know, she doesn't know how they will overcome this challenge in life. Maybe you have someone who's sick at home that you always worry about, and you don't know how things will change in your life. It's not even in a personal level. Some of us live with bigger problems. We are as part of this bigger world, where all this economical crisis that around us, that it affect us some way or other. When we talk about global warming, we see countries not far away from us, they are sinking in the ocean. We're looking at the world around us, there is so many struggles, there is no stability, there is always fear of war and problems. When you look at all these challenges in life, you stop and you take a deep breath and you look out and you say, how am I going to be able to deal with all these problems? How am I going to be able to deal with challenges in life? And my role in this talk, I don't want to be just telling you, hey, you're going to have a hard time in your future. Very nice to meet you guys. Assalamu alaikum. No, I didn't came 10,000 miles away from Houston to tell you that. You know, there is a guy fallen in a hall. So he was like inside the hall screaming, help, help, help. So a doctor passed by him. Then he said, doctor, help me. He said, what? I said, I fell in the hall and I broke my legs. He said, yeah, okay, just 1 second. He wrote him a prescription that he threw it inside. And then he left him. So another person passed, he screamed, hollering at the person. The person came, and that's the Shaykh. So, Shaykh, help me. You know, I'm in the hall and I broke my legs. So the Shaykh said, okay, let me make dua for you. He made dua for him. Assalamu alaikum, jazakallah, and he left. Then a friend passed by. And he said, hey, what happened to you? He said, I'm dying. Then immediately his friend jumped in the hall and carried him, and he helped him to get out. That's what friends for. Friends are the only one who comes in when everybody goes out. That's true friends in life. So I want to be your friend today. I want to not only to make dua for you and leave. No, I would like to share with you 10 tools, 10 points. I want you to keep it in mind that you're going to need it in your future. 10 points. It will help you to face any challenge in life. It will help you to handle any problem that it will pass or it will challenge you in your future or even in this time, inshallah ta'ala. It's not important to talk about our problem as much as it's important to talk to our problems. We can talk about our problems as much as we can, but I think what we need to do, we need to talk to our problems. That's why I came up with these points that it will help you to solve these challenges that you might go through it in your future, inshallah ta'ala. And I'm putting these 10 points while I am putting in front of me a statement from the Prophet ﷺ that I consider it one of my favorite hadith that I ever come across in my life. And this hadith, I use it a lot on my preaching, in my, when I teach it to my kids, to my community in the masjid. It's an interesting hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِن دَاءٍ إِلَّا جَعَلَ لَهُ دَوَاءً. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never put a disease on earth unless He provide a cure for it. And don't ever limit your mind to the word disease, to the physical disease. It's actually, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, that include all kinds of diseases, heart diseases, psychological problems, economical problems. There is no problem in this earth Allah have made it or allowed it to happen unless He have also put out there a solution for it. That's why عَلِمَهُ مَنْ عَلِمَهُ وَجَهِلَهُ مَنْ جَهِلَهُ يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Some people will come to know the solution, some people will come to know the cure, and some will not. The only thing there is no cure for it, there is no solution for it, the concept of death. Everybody will die, and the concept of al-haram, which is everybody will get old. Nobody can stay young unless, inshallah, you go to Jannah. So let's start with these 10 points quickly. Number one, in any time you are going through a hardship and calamity, what I want you to think of, the first thing come to your mind, to trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your sight, that your Creator is with you. Don't ever, tusi'u dhann billah, don't ever think bad or evil or negative of your Lord. You always have to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us and taught us in Surah Yusuf this meaning. When the father told his children, even though he lost his son, he's about to lose another son, which is Yusuf's father, and there is a problem, a calamity, that the king refused to give them food for his tribe, how he can feed his children, his tribe. Listen to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about Yusuf, about Yusuf's father. He said, يا بني يذهبوا فتحسسوا من يوسف وأخيه ولا تيأسوا من روح الله إنه لا ييأس من روح الله إلا القوم الكافرون. Only the disbeliever, the one who will give up hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The believers will never give up hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The believer will always realize, إِنَّ رَحْمَةَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ مِّنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah's mercy is so close to the believer, is so close to the believer. Part of our belief as a Muslims that we depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what depend on Allah means? Tawakkul. You know what tawakkul means? Tawakkul, it means to rely on Allah. To rely on Him. And you will never rely on someone unless you trust him. Unless you trust him. You know what? Can you try it? Go to one of your friends. You know, we do this sometimes in the class. And let your friend be behind you. And you just let your body go. Would you do it? Would you completely no resist? You just fall like this in your friend's hand. Unless you trust that he's strong enough to hold you. That he will not be a cruel joker and he says, oh, and he let you fall. That's his joke, you know? Unless you trust him, you rely completely on him. Can you believe that you rely completely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is the most sufficient. Allah is the most sufficient. SubhanAllah, I come across a study been done where I came from Texas. It's a very religious state, very religious state. There is a study, shocked me. That study in Texas, it was done, conducted for more than 200 students, high schooler. They are doing very well in their school. Their grades are very high. They're doing very well. And one of the one of the common factor between these 200 students who are from different schools in the state, that all of them, they have very positive view towards God. All of them think of God as something positive, something will stand for them. Anyone think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as someone who will always for me, it will be very easy for you to go through these challenges. Let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do it His way. We don't always understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's methods. We don't necessarily always understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's the way He put things together. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the big picture and you don't. All what it needs to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أنا عند حسن ظن عبدي بي فليظن بعبدي ما شاء يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I will meet your expectation on me. If you expect good from me, you will find good. You expect bad, you will find nothing but that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always has a way, even when it looks like there is no way. I have a person, he mashallah, one of these rich guys who fly in a private jet, okay? So he said, once I was flying and I was trying to, everybody after we took off, opened the tray, the tray to put my laptop or my iPad. And he said, mine didn't open. And mine looks strange a little bit, like from the side. He said, I'm not like, he said, this is my first time to travel on this kind of jet with someone. So he said, I kept grabbing it. Everybody is open except mine. So then he said to himself, why ya Rab? Why? All of them open except me. It's embarrassing. And he said, after I'm like grabbing it so hard, I finally realized that there is like a red things written. Don't try to open it. It's not a tray, it's an emergency exit. So, he said, at a moment I was saying to myself, why ya Rab? Then I said, I got it. That's Allah didn't let it open, because if it's open, I will be flying out of that airplane. So sometimes you need to learn how to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need to learn how to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never intend bad for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always there for you. I want to encourage every one of you today, to get your life back and have to stay filled with hope, trust, tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're dealing with the one who sees you, who hears you, who knows your situation, and He's more merciful to you than anybody else. As Sufyan al-Thawri used to say, Wallahi, I never want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I never will choose my parents to be my judge instead of Allah. They said, how come? Your parents will give you like an easy access to Jannah. He said, no, because I know Allah is more merciful towards me than my own parents. That's the trust that we talk about. That's the feeling that it should fill our heart when we deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We shouldn't deal with Allah with doubt. We shouldn't deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We would have a question mark. Is He really cares about me? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really loves me? Wallahi, no matter what, no matter how much you're far away, or maybe you're not a perfect person, but still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful, so near to you. All what it takes from you is just to take one step towards Him and see how in return He will come back, or He will come to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ways when it looks like there is no ways. Jazakallah khair. Shukran. You all know the story of Musa alayhi salam. He left Egypt with his followers, and guess what? The children of Israel told Musa, should we take weapons? He said, nobody allowed to take weapons. Ya Musa, no weapons. They left all their weapons. But where are we going? This direction. There is nothing there. It's desert. This direction, this direction. And he ended up where? In the sea. In front of him is the sea. He looked back and he see over there Pharaoh and his soldiers. And listen to this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَمَّا تَرَاءَتِ الْفِئَتَانِ. When they saw one another, they were so near that the children of Israel and Musa, they can see them. The children of Israel said to Musa, what do you have done to us? You brought us to nowhere. He said, I'm not the one who brought you here. Allah is the one who told me to bring you here. So what was the answer? He said, كَلَّا إِنَّ مَعِي رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينَ. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with me and He will guide me. See the heart when it's full. That's a challenge. That's a very difficult moment. To see your enemy and you have no weapons and they will not hesitate to kill you. But he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with me, He will never forsake me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given him the victory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His own way, put things according to His timeline, not according to our timeline. You know, there is a great scholar in Islam, I don't know, by hands, kida. How many of you ever heard of someone, his name, Al-Imam Al-Nawawi rahimahullah? By hand? It's a great Shafi'i scholars, one of a very good number. This scholar, Imam Al-Nawawi rahimahullah, in the beginning of his life, you know what he wanted to be? He wanted to be a doctor. He studied a book called Al-Qanun Ibn Sina. He said, I was reading it, it's not my field. And I was so mad at myself that I couldn't understand and comprehend this subject. Subhanallah. Maybe at the moment he thought that this is the field, the area that he's excelling in. But he quit that and he started studying Sharia. And today, the book Riyadh al-Salihin, every corner of the earth. Al-Adhkar al-Nawawi, everywhere. I traveled in an area you will never think that Islam reached it. And I found in this area one of Nawawi's book. I traveled to the Eskimo, north of Alaska, by helicopter. Then we took a dog sled. Basically, we traveled all the way there to see a Muslim living in a small little village, okay? And they have a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. You go to the north of Canada, you will find a masjid that a copy from Riyadh al-Salihin. Africa, in islands in the Pacific Oceans, I have seen the books of this man. Maybe if he was a doctor, he wouldn't be that famous. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose for him another path. For a moment he thought he's a failure. But he was not. If you're struggling in your study, remember this story. Trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do your best. Excel in the thing that you are good at. So number one, always have this trust in your heart in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He always choose for you the good. The second point I want you to remember, that ease comes with hardship. When thing became the hardest, when it reached the peak, that's the time where thing is going to change. I have, mashallah, I witnessed so many of my kids' delivery, standing next to my wife, holding her hand when she delivered the baby. I'm sure some of you maybe, I don't know about that, most of you young. But I'm sure you heard about it, saw maybe TV with a woman deliver the baby. Have you come across and seen experience like that? When a woman delivered the baby, that's one of the most difficult moments in her life. SubhanAllah. At one moment, your wife would be saying, or that pregnant woman would be saying, that's it, I don't want to do it anymore. That's it, I want to stop. Because so painful. It is so painful to the extent she said, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop. Can you imagine if she stopped at that moment? When the pain reached to the peak, That's exactly when the baby about to be delivered. If she stop and back off at that time, what will happen? Brothers and sisters, remember this example. When things reach to the peak, it's not the time to back off. It's the time to push forward. When things become so hard on you, you remember that's the time not to back off. That's the time to push forward. إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا قال ابن عباس الحمد لله الذي قال مع ولم يقل بعد العسر يسرا. We're so grateful to our Lord that Allah said with hardship ease, and Allah didn't say in the Qur'an after hardship comes ease. Allah didn't say that. He said with, ma'a. Brothers and sisters, the darkest moment in the night, the moments right before dawn. This is the darkest moment of the night. That's why for those who are struggling in life, those who have things that make them worry, going through a hardship and calamity, I want to tell you that I know for sure, and I want you to know that the payday is coming very soon to you. When you start saying, forget it. When I hear some father telling me, you know what, this son, this daughter would never make it. They would never be good. I tell them that's not. When you reach that level, that's the level that I'm telling you, a little bit more effort and your son will be good, your daughter will be good. If you married and you say, this marriage will never work out, when you reach that level, I'm telling you all what it needs, not to divorce, all what it needs to work harder. One guy came to me right before I came here, just 2 days before I flew to Malaysia. And he came to me to a masjid and he said, Shaykh, that's it, I want to divorce my wife. I said, why? He said, I don't love her anymore. I said, okay. I have no love between us, that's it. I said, you know what, why don't work it out? He said, I tried that, I reached the... I said, that's the time you should work harder. He said, you remind me of somebody telling me, you know what, I want to sell my car. Why? Because I run out of gas. Because there is no gas in it, so I want to sell the car. What you need to do, go put some gas. Not on your wife. Okay. Go put some gas, make some money. You can invest in your relationship with her. Go reignite that love again in the heart. That's what you need to work more. Not to the time to quit. When you say, I will not change, maybe some of us has drug problems, using drugs or smoking. You know what, every time you struggle with that, you want to quit. And you say, I want to quit, I want to be good. I want to stop doing this evil thing that I'm doing. When you reach the level, you say, you know what, I'll never change. No, that's the time you're going to change. That's the time you push farther. That's the time you dig your heel in and you stand your ground. حتى إذا استيأس الرسل وظنوا أنهم قد كذبوا. Can you imagine the prophets and the messengers? They reached a level that they thought that Allah forsaken them. Allah have left them. كذبوا. يعني the promise that Allah giving them is not true. That's how far they went in their imagination. Can you imagine you reached that level and you are a prophet or a messenger? أنهم قد كذبوا. When you reach that level, جاءهم نصرنا. Our victory came to them. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ جاءتكم جنود فأرسلنا عليهم ريحا لم تروها وكان الله بما تعملون بصيرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us at this story about the incident where the Muslim in Medina and the army of the pagans and the kuffar came from everywhere. من فوقكم ومن أسفل منكم وإذ زاغت الأبصار وبلغت القلوب الحناجر وتظنون بالله الظنونا. When They came and approached you from above you, from underneath of you, from all the sides, and you're basically cannot concentrate in one place. Your heart reaches your throat, so terrified, so scared, and you have all these bad thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah talking about the believers who were with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time. At that difficult moment, the victory came. So the point, anytime you see you reach to the peak, know that this is the top and you're going downhill easy after that. Number 3, every time you have a challenge in your life, you go through a calamity or hardship, what I want you to do, I want you to start to think about why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put me through such test. What's the wisdom behind that? Don't curse, don't be mad, don't be angry, don't be sad. Always say, what the wisdom behind that? Because part of what we believe as Muslim, all Allah's actions based on wisdom, because He's the most wise, Al-Hakim, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put me through their hardship? What's the wisdom behind that? You know, the ultimate major of a person is not where he or she stands in a moment of comfort and ease. No, it's actually in a time of challenge and controversy. That's the ultimate measurement of you. The value of you will not appear in a time of ease. It will only appear in a time of difficulties, in a time of challenge. Your value will appear in a time of your exam. That's a time of challenge. Not in the day, basically during your daily activity. In a time of a challenge, in a time of difficulties, that's what your real value will appear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes allows certain pressure on you. Not because not because He hates you, not because He wants to put you down, no, because He loves you and He wants you to be stronger. You guys know what's the most valuable rock on the face of the earth? Anybody knows? Black diamond. One of the cheapest rock on the face of the earth is what? The coal, charcoal. I'm sure you know better than me about that. Charcoal and black diamonds, they are exactly coming from the same elements. The only difference between black diamonds, which is very expensive, and charcoal is the structure of the diamond different than the structure of the charcoal. The structure of the black diamond allowed it to resist pressure, while the coal does not allow it to resist pressure. It will be crushed immediately. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put pressure in you and allowed you to resist your pressure so you became something valuable in life. Not to be something can be easily crushed, have no value in life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to grow strong. When I hired a personal trainer, but you can tell I fire him very quickly, okay, to lose weight, okay. One of the things he told me, he said, one of the things that if you want to grow your muscles, when you grow your muscles, you have to work out your muscles to tear your muscles first. Then after that, you'll allow your muscle to grow. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to grow, wants you to be strong. You know, where I came from in Texas, it's very interesting. In Texas, people in the old days, they loved codfish, okay? Codfish is a fish grown in the north of America, which is in a cold sea. We have very warm sea like you guys here in the Gulf of Mexico. So the old days, they used to get the fish, catch the fish, and bring them to dead fish to Texas and Louisiana. In Louisiana and Texas, they said, you know, it's not a fresh fish. It didn't go well. But people love this type of fish. So a man brought a container and filled it with water and put all the codfish in the water and brought it to down south. But the fish, by the time it arrived, it was so smushy and tasted weird because the whole trip, the fish, like, you know, in this tanker. So the guy came up with a very smart idea. You know what he did? He brought the natural predators of catfish, which is the natural predator of codfish, which is the catfish. And he threw several catfish in the tank, in the tanker. So the whole entire trip, all the fish, the codfish, very alert. They keep moving and they're moving around. So by the time they arrived, they were so strong, fresh, their muscle tight, and people enjoyed them after that. Maybe that difficulties in your life, it's that catfish that Allah threw it in your way. Allah sometimes drop catfish in your way to keep you alert, to keep you fresh, to keep you strong. Wallahi, not to keep you weak. Wallahi, not meant to keep you down. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we know, He's so loving, Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. My brothers and sisters, since we are an engineering university, it will not be proper just to pass a name of one of the most respected scientists in the modern history. A scientist who have invented so many inventions that until today nobody broke his record. He's in the top, as far as I know, Thomas and Edison, who invented more than 1,000 inventions, 1,093. It's patented, registered by his name. This man, if you know a little bit about his life, you will be amazed. This man, he was kicked out of his elementary school because his teacher said that he's a retarded kid. He's a retarded kid. He was raised by his own mother. She took care of him. She's his teacher. The teacher refused to teach him in the school. They said he's a retarded kid. Get out. He had a very rough life in his life. If you read his life story, you will be amazed. Maybe in the beginning, if you're there and you see it, you say, what is this? But this did nothing to this man but to make him a stronger person. Read the story of Mr. Honda, the famous car that so many of you drive here in Malaysia, mashallah. If you read his life, 4 factories were destroyed. He built 4 factories and it all were destroyed. He started with a bicycle. He put an engine on it. Then he invented the motorbike. Later on, he built that factory that it burned in the World War II in Japan's war. Then after that, you know, another big fire destroyed him. He started from scratch. Every time his factory was burned, he start over again and start over better, in a better way. So these challenges in life never meant to make you, to put you down. It's only meant to grow you strong, brothers and sisters. Number 4, when we think about our problems, my advice to you, the 4th point that I want you to keep in mind, don't ever be led by your problems. Only be led in your life by your dreams. Don't ever let your problems block your way. These problems that happen to you in your life, don't make your whole entire focus in life on it. No. Don't make it live in your heart or settle in your brain. Just keep it somewhere on the side. I know it is there and I'm going to deal with it. You know, I have a simple way to put it. I always say, life is like riding a bicycle. Can you tell what's the connection? The only way you can keep balance when you ride the bicycle, if you keep moving. That's life. You want to keep balance in life? Keep moving. Don't stop. Keep moving. Don't ever stop at your problem and say, don't let it block you from moving and growing. That's why I said, don't be led by a problem. Be always led by your dreams and plans in life. I'm going to move quickly. Number 5. Make sure that your problems, your failures, will not defeat you from inside. Even if you're knocked down, make sure that you're able to stand up again. And don't ever let these problems in life, these sins that maybe took over your heart, or these habits, or maybe the addiction, or maybe the failing in the class, or you didn't do well in one of your courses, whatever the problem is, or your problem with your parents, your problem with your spouse, your problem with your fiance, maybe whatever problem that you have in your life, don't let it ever knock you from inside, defeat you from your inside. Don't let anyone defeat you from your inside. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us this lesson. وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ. Don't ever be defeated from inside. Allah said to the Muslim after they lost the battle of Uhud. They lost it technically, they lost the battle of Uhud. Allah said, don't tahinu, don't feel down, don't feel from inside you lost. No. You're higher, you're bigger. One of the beautiful things in your country here, that you have so many palm trees. And by the way, palm tree is a blessing tree. And the Prophet ﷺ said, مَثَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِ كَمَثَلِ النَّخْلَةِ. The example of mu'min like the tree, the palm tree. The mu'min is like a palm tree. Do you know something about palm tree? Just since you see a lot of them around here. Palm tree is the only tree, as far as I know, that the trunk is a live thing. It's a live thing. Palm tree, it's not like so many other trees that they grow wider. Palm tree, it grows taller. But that's not my point. There is one thing about the palm tree I'm using it here for. Palm tree has the ability, there's so many types of palm trees, but palm tree has the ability to bend in the wind, then go back again straight. It's not like the oak trees that we have in America, or these big trees, thick, and when in the strong wind or hurricane comes, it will break it. SubhanAllah, palm trees, they bend, then they go back. And the Nabi ﷺ said the example of the believer, like what? Like the palm tree. Don't ever be defeated from sight. Even if you've been knocked down, come back again. Strong. Come back again strong. Don't always worry yourself so much that you became from inside defeated. Because worry will never empty tomorrow from its sorrow and fear. It's only empty today from its strength. That's the only thing worries and being defeated from inside will do. Number 6, when you have a problem in life, you need to look at why this problem happened. What's the reasons behind it? Where is the root of the problem? So many times I counsel couples, like a husband and wife. Oh, we do this, and I notice that always they fight over the symptoms. They never try to look at the root of the problem. When you have a problem in your life, look at the root of your problem. What is the root of your problem? Let's say you are in so much debt. Maybe the problem is that you have a spending problem. Maybe you always fail, you cannot concentrate. Maybe you have a time management problem. Maybe you have an anger problem. Look at the root of the problem. Look at basically the foundation of it, and how can you tackle it from the root? That's the right way to go with your problems. So many times we deal with our problems in a very naive way. You cannot solve a problem by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created these problems. So that means there is something else. I need to look at what the reasons, where is the source of these problems, and so forth. Number 7, whenever you have a problem in your life, I want you to watch carefully your words. The words that you use when you deal with your problems. Don't say, I can't, say, I will try. Don't say, that's it. No, that's the beginning. Subhanallah, language is the dress of thoughts. You can tell a lot about your thought by your language, by the language that you use. Sometimes just changing the way you're saying it will make a big difference. Will make a big, huge difference. How something can be done rather than saying cannot be done. That's a big difference. A big difference. That's why in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for instance, in Sahih al-Bukhari, forbade us to say, لو أني فعلت كذا وكذا. Don't say if I do this, if I did that. Because this language, it will bring bad negative thoughts. It will help to defeat you from inside. In Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, al-mu'min is a person watch his tongue. ليس باللعان ولا بالطعان ولا بالفاحش البذيء. Is not a person always curse, always use false language. No. In another hand, in another hadith, he said, الكلمة الطيبة صدقة. Good words are a form of charity. So watch your language that you use when you talk about your problems. The Prophet ﷺ said, من قال هلك الناس فهو أهلكهم أو فهو أهلكهم. Two ways to pronounce the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever say all people are bad, the Prophet ﷺ said it means he is the worst. Or the other way to understand it, he is the one who made them bad. Because the language, negative words, don't say that. Don't say, cannot be changed. No, I said, I will try. We'll see how it's going to work. Number 8, it's something I will keep it for tonight. It's about optimism. So there is a whole thing to be said about be optimistic when you deal with your problems. Let optimism lead you in your challenge. SubhanAllah, I saw a very it's a very interesting picture I saw. It's this beautiful boat. We're boat usually sitting on the beach, that's right, or in the sea, that's right. But this boat was on the sand. So I said to myself, SubhanAllah, how's that? This beautiful yacht on the sand. But underneath of it was a very nice caption. It says, the tide always comes back. The tides always come back. The water is coming back and will bring it back to the sea. And I thought this is very inspiring. I thought this is very inspiring. But anyway, inshallah, we will talk more about optimism and how can you be an optimistic person? How can you develop that character? And I will tackle this tonight from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's seerah. I'll talk about it from the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he was the most optimistic person. And I will give you also another 6 or 7 points. It will make you an optimistic person. Because unfortunately, we don't have a button in our body. We can push it, and I became an optimistic person. It doesn't work this way. Have to work your way for it. Number 9, anytime you are in a problem, anytime you are in a hardship, anytime you're in calamity, turn yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. The one who always answers the call of those who are in trouble. A good friend of mine from Egypt, he told me about a woman. This woman, she's very poor to the extent that she doesn't have any money to bring dinner in so many nights to her children. Her young daughter was so sick, very high fever. So they told, take her to the hospital. In their village, there is no hospital. She has to travel to the city. She said, I don't have even money to have a taxi to take me to the city, and I don't have money to pay for the doctor. She tried everything. She begged for money. She asked for a loan. Everybody turned her down. She said, I put water on my daughter's forehead. I put her into bed. And I prayed. And she's a righteous woman. And she said, Ya Rab, in her own language, simple words. She said, Ya Rab, Ya Rabbina. Everybody turned me down. I don't know what to do with this problem. She's gonna die. Ya Rab, I ask you, I beg you to find a solution for it. Help me. And he said, Ya Rab, you saying in the Qur'an, أَمَّا يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءِ. Ya Rab, you said in the Qur'an, you the one who answered the call of those who are in hardship and calamity. I am now in a hardship and calamity, and I'm begging you and asking you. She said, Wallahi, I did not finish the salat unless the door knocked. And I opened the door, then he said, I'm the doctor. She said, I was in tears when he said, I'm the doctor. Then he said, where is your daughter? I said, inside. He walked into the room, he looked at my daughter, he gave her a shot, and he wrote for me a prescription. He said, 150 guinea ya madam, 150 pounds. And I said, what? He said, 150 pounds. I said, I have no money. He said, what do you mean? You called me. I brought me all the way from the city to this village to tell me you have no money? She said, I didn't call. I don't even have a phone. She said, no, I was called. A phone call came to me. No, back and forth. All of a sudden, the neighbor coming down. Ya doctor, ya doctor. Then he said, what? She said, our daughter waiting for you upstairs. I'm the one who called you. He knocked on her door by mistake. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ. The one who answered the call of those who raise their hands towards him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So many times in calamity and hardship, we go to so many worldly things. We forgot to turn ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to sincerely ask Him and to pray to Him. Last point, number 10. When you have a problem, don't complain to people about your problems. Most of the people, they don't know how to solve it, and the rest, they don't care about it. Instead of complaining, you know what you need to do? Take mashura, take advice. When you come to me, said, don't go to someone and say, I want to complain to him about your problem. Ask for advice, ask for feedback. ما خاب من استشار. You will never regret consultation. Go consult those who are older than you, wiser than you, have more experience in life. My brothers and sisters, final words about this subject to tell you that so many times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us through so many hardship and calamities. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not really what He is really interested in. He's interested in changing you. But I found it so ironic that when we go through calamity and hardship, all what we care about is changing our circumstances. We don't think about ourselves. We always think how Allah will change the circumstances so things will go good. But you know what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't really care about your circumstances. What He cares about is you changing or not. That's why Allah said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change what is in you, what's happening to you, until you change yourself. Can you get it? It's about you, buddy. It's about you, sister and brothers. So, go get your problem solved or untangled. Go get the life that you deserve. And don't let anything stopping from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created you to be. Free man, free woman, not chained, not enslaved to your own problems or worries in life, but to live with strength, to live a happy and a successful life. life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant all of us this. Sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Thank you very much.